When I say the word marketing, what's the first thing that pops into your head? For most people, it's one of two things. These huge, splashy ads or maybe some pushy salespeople. But today, we're going to peel back those layers and find out what marketing really is.
So if that's what you were thinking, ads, salespeople, maybe even the idea of convincing people to buy stuff they don't really need, well, you're not alone. But that is not the whole story. Not even close. In fact, it's not even the most important part.
And here's a quote from the absolute legend of management thinking, Peter Drucker, that just turns everything on its head. He said, "The aim of marketing is to make selling superfluous." Superfluous, meaning, unnecessary. Just let that sink in for a second. The whole goal of marketing is to make the act of selling pointless? It sounds totally backwards, I know, but this is the absolute key to understanding what modern marketing is all about.
Okay, so to really get what Drucker was talking about, we have to start by just busting that initial myth wide open. Marketing is so much more than what we all see on the surface.
The best way to think about it is like this. Selling and advertising, that's just the tip of the marketing iceberg. What we don't see is the massive, huge foundation under the water. All the research, the strategy, the product development, that's the real work. And when that part is done right, the product or service just fits the customer so perfectly that it basically sells itself.
So, if the goal isn't just to sell, if it's to make selling unnecessary, then what is the real purpose of marketing? Well, it's all about a big shift in focus, moving away from products and toward needs.
Okay, so the American Marketing Association gives us this very formal definition. I know, it's a bit of a mouthful, but listen for the most important word in there. Marketing is all about creating, communicating, and delivering offerings that have value. That word value, that's the whole game. It's about delivering value, not just making a transaction.
Or we could just boil all of that down to three simple words: meeting needs profitably. That's it. That's the essence of the whole thing. It's a two-part mission, right? First, you have to identify a genuine human need. And second, you got to figure out how to meet that need in a way that actually sustains the business.
And you see this in every single great business. Think about it. Google didn't invent our need for information. It just figured out how to meet it better than anyone else. IKEA saw that people needed furniture that was affordable but still looked good. Toyota saw a growing need for fuel efficiency and boom, they gave us the Prius. In every case, that deep understanding of the need came first. The product was just the answer.
Okay, so marketing is about meeting needs. But what kind of things, what kind of offerings can actually meet those needs? Well, the answer is way broader than you might think. It is so much more than just a physical product you can hold in your hand. First, let's start with the obvious one, physical goods. This is everything from cars to these little single-serve sachets, which, by the way, are an absolutely brilliant marketing solution for making products affordable and accessible in many parts of the world.
But marketing also applies to events. The Olympics, the World Cup. These are perfect examples, massive, time-based experiences that are marketed like crazy to a global audience of fans and sponsors.
And get this, you can even market entire places. After a huge financial crisis and a volcano eruption that messed up air travel everywhere, Iceland launched this Inspired by Iceland campaign. They marketed the country itself and turned what could have been a total disaster into a massive tourism success. And honestly, the list just keeps going. We market services like banking, experiences like a trip to Disney World, and yep, even people, like artists or public figures. You can market properties, you can market information, and you can even market abstract ideas like a public health campaign about washing your hands. If a need exists, you can create something to meet it, and that something can be marketed. So, understanding the scope of marketing is one thing, but we also have to get that the practice of marketing, how it's actually done, is not some static thing. The entire marketplace has been totally transformed by a few major forces, making it just dramatically different than it was even a decade ago. As we can see here, there are really three main forces at play. First, you've got technology, which has given consumers like you and me more power and more information than ever before. Second, globalization has cranked up the competition and opened up all these new markets. And third, social responsibility has raised the bar for what we expect from companies when it comes to ethics and environmental impact. Together, these three have completely reshaped the game. So in response to all these new realities, marketers realized they couldn't just think in their own little silos anymore. A brand new, much more connected framework was needed to pull all the different pieces together.
For decades, marketing was defined by the classic 4 Ps: product, price, place, and promotion. You probably learned about them in school, but that view is just way too limited for the world we live in today. The modern framework has evolved to a new set of Ps: people, processes, programs, and performance. This reflects a much broader reality, that your employees, your company's internal systems, and your overall impact on society, that's all part of marketing now.
And all of this leads to this central idea of holistic marketing. As you can see from these 4 quadrants on the screen, this approach basically acknowledges that everything matters. It connects your internal marketing to your customers, to your performance, and to how all your marketing activities fit together. In today's world, you just can't separate your product from your purpose anymore.
And this leaves us with a classic, fiery debate. Does marketing create needs, making us want things we don't actually require, or does it just satisfy needs that are already there inside us? I mean, marketers didn't invent our need for social status, but they definitely promote the idea that a luxury car can satisfy it. It's a really fine line, isn't it? So what do you think? The next time you see an ad, ask yourself, is it trying to create a new need, or is it just trying to meet one?